Last month, I attended my 50th high school reunion in Mission, Texas. Sony camera in hand, I devoted myself to the lovely, melancholy task of documenting that town I knew and how it has grown and evolved from a small place of 11,000 to a population of 90,000 now. Nobody asked me to record the town. That's just what I've always done. What Dublin, Ireland was to James Joyce, Mission, Texas is to me. I strolled around downtown Mission to see the commercial district. The Spanish-style building where my mother worked for Conway, Dooley & Martin Insurance Agency now houses a healthcare provider. Ghosts hovered over North Conway Avenue, the main drag, as I overlaid businesses long gone. David's Pharmacy, Rexall Pharmacy, First State Bank, where I had a passbook savings account paying a fixed 5%. Can I sign up for that now someplace? Later Supermarket, Don Linger's Appliances, Dr. Martin and Dr. Livengood, who made house calls. The Border Theater, a historical landmark, is still there, but I don't see any movies playing. I wandered in the 95-degree heat toward the railroad tracks that divide Mission into north and south segments. Those rails carry both commercial and rails of both commerce and intense symbolism. I've got photos going back to 1975 of the tracks. They always drew me. I was in luck that day. I saw a line of 10 rail cars on the regular tracks and then 6 graffiti-scarred ones on a weed-grown sidetrack. From different angles, I captured background elements that added context. The most notable was the venerable spire of Our Lady of Guadalupe Catholic Church, an anchor of Mission's skyline in society for over 100 years. I shot palm trees in the distance, framed in the space between 2 rail cars. Across the tracks and down South Conway Avenue to the Mexican part of town. Heading south, I passed Mission Feed and Hardware Supply and Mission Western Wear. Those are old-time retailers. South Mission was always intensely photogenic. The Leo Peña Placita Park was locked up, so I couldn't get in. It honors Mission veterans, highlighting those who died in service. The place looked run down from outside, needing lots of TLC in keeping with its solemn purpose. Driving a distance from my hotel, the bungalows on Sherry Road, I rediscovered the valley I remembered. Wide vistas, towering Gulf Coast clouds, fields, mobile homes. What had been so oblivious to me as a teen, looking to get away, now looked utterly familiar, timeless, the home I had. I visited St. Peter's Novitiate southwest of town, built in 1912 as a seminary. In the 1970s, I walked around it and photographed the stately building and the surrounding greenery. Then a fire destroyed it in 2009. Seeing the skeletal ruins on top of a hill, isolated behind a high chain-length fence, shocked me. It stood like an ancient ruin of Rome. The hillside offered a panoramic view of fields and roads rolling down to Mexico about a half-mile away. The unceasing wind blew in the quiet where I could hear birds chirping. The place encourages meditation. Perhaps the novitiate's remains are a miracle, the defiance of faith over the calamity of fire. Later, a friend and I drove to the National Butterfly Center, a 100-acre wildlife center and native species botanical garden. Now, this was new to me. We slathered on sunscreen and checked out the trails and butterflies. On the drive back, we drove parallel to a stretch of the rust-colored border wall, which reminded me of sculptor Frank Serra's monumental work, Tilted Arc, a relic of New York in the 1980s. We didn't stop to take photos because the Border Patrol has eyes in the sky and everywhere else. Why stop and ask for trouble? But I saw some encouraging signs in town, such as a bookstore performance space, Velicor Books and More, perfect for open mics. I especially liked the Mission Historical Museum in the old City Hall. I had donated copies of town and high school newspapers I had written for to the museum. To my delight, one exhibit had a photo of a school band from 1930. It includes one girl kneeling with a saxophone. I told the museum staff, hey, I know who she was. That's my mother, Shirley Listener, when she was 10 years old. I know because I have a copy of that very photo. So who knows, maybe the museum will exhibit photos I've taken or recordings of my open mics about Mission or posts from my blog, Mission to Moscow. What's commonplace now may be valued and revealing in the decades and generations ahead, but that future is in another country. Thank you.